So now we will go to the run of the day and a little bit of task share, which will go to Rebecca. Because there are a few smaller, like we went through the bigger things yesterday, but there's also some small tasks that we will need help with, and it was easier if people could volunteer on the spot. Hopefully, we'll see how that works.
We can from we need bombs.
I think it's very important that, well, sometimes media and politics are perceived as opposite to each other. I mean, that we stand on the other side and media reports on politics, politics defend themselves against media. But if we think about this a little bit closer, actually we are all active people who are working in order to build and contribute to better reality. However we understand this reality is. So however we might disagree or agree on issues, it is very important that we can meet and actually have some insights to what are point of views of particular sides. So that should be it from me. Thank you very much for being here with us. This is just the beginning, so I hope we will have a good time together, and you will get a lot of inspiration, but not only, you will get a lot of, I hope, new friends, contacts, professional, personal, as well as you will improve your skills, I hope. And thank you for being here, for listening to me. I have an impression I speak too long. So then I finish.
Okay, there are a lot of some men also, but majority are women. So from this point of view, I don't think that we should establish any quotas or quotas for women in journalism. And I must confirm to you that as long as me personally will be at this place, we will continue to organize this event, organize these workshops, because I don't think that it's only for your benefit, but it's more in the benefit of the people in the European Parliament, because it gives us also the possibility to reflect on questions which sometimes we forget to reflect.
And Marlene, if you could show the example picture. So this is a prize-winning photograph from Haiti, and although it's not directly linked to the European topic, yet this is one perspective which was probably the most covered one. There were a lot of journalists in place after the Haiti earthquake and took exactly this perspective in this picture.
those of us who are responsible for the news. And I'm on the news side, and our job on the news side is, no matter what our editorial writers may be saying, is to relay the facts and analyse them as objectively as we can in the limited space that we can. I think one of the problems with a lot of European newspapers certainly is that the difference between editorial and news is blurred, and that it's very hard to look at some, certainly British newspapers, and distinguish, the news columns from the editorial columns. I mean, news columns sort of write the same kind of things as the editorial columns, and they come very often from the same angle.
If you just talk about the one side, and I also come back to the picture you showed us. If you just show one side, not talk about the discussion process, about the role parliaments play, about the decisions that are taken in the process of discussion. It's just the message, okay, this candy will be forbidden afterwards, and in the end it's not true. And that doesn't give the right picture from the European decision-taking process. And I think we have to start in the early beginning to show the process and to show both sides of
You are limited with the time, and it's an enormous power the media has with the pictures. Sometimes people have a better perception of pictures and images than of journalists speaking the text. And what I want to say with this enormous role of media is that very easy you can spin the public opinion in this short time you have. So it's very important that the journalists would really be credible while reporting.
Where we get it wrong often, I think, is in peddling prejudices against whole peoples, whole races, as many British papers do on a daily basis, especially in the Sun, the Daily Mail, with their rants against benefit cheats from Eastern Europe and pretty much all foreigners, despite the fact that there are less foreigners on benefits than Brits.
In the European Youth Media Days, participants learned how to find their way to the best stories of the day. Reporting from Brussels to
fascinating time to be in Brussels because so many things are evolving. We have an interesting debate that's going on. So it's a privilege to be here and make this, and have this as your main job, to also contribute to, the whole idea of, do we need the European Union? What do we need it for? Where should we go? And is the young generation actually being taken into account count still, or are we losing the young generation? What I also didn't know was that you had to be a finance expert to Brussels. My colleagues who have been here longer than me have told me that that's completely changed.
It's about building contacts across the EU institutions. So I spend a lot of time meeting people in the European Council or in the Commission, sometimes in Parliament as well. I was here a couple of days ago seeing President, yesterday actually, seeing President Schulz after he had a meeting with Kwasniewski and Cox about how they resolve this issue and how much of you are following it with the Ukraine and the Eastern Partnership. So it's about maintaining kind of, you know, knowledge across a huge number of issues, whether it could be something like that, which is kind of a foreign policy related issue, and trade issue, or economics and monetary affairs, and so developing closer contacts with Olli Rehn and his people, and policy that may be coming down the pipeline, or how they're going to handle Portugal or Ireland, and anything to do with, let's say, car emissions issues, which may not seem particularly sexy, but you know, you might have seen the front page of the Financial Times today, and we had the story too, but about how much money BMW gives to Angela Merkel's to the CDU. Really, it didn't really give it to the re-election campaign, but effectively, how much money? You know, 700,000 euros, which could be seen as sort of, you know, payment for services rendered, and in this case, it's about policy in the EU about allowing Germany effectively to go on producing really big cars that emit a high level of CO2, and the law is supposed to change where they have to lower their emissions, and that would really damage Germany's car industry, and Germany's fighting to prevent it.
It's very, very important to just to be aware that, you know, people have an agenda. I mean, look at the gas attack in Syria. You know, the regime said, "Oh, this was staged by rebels." And of course, then the Russian government were agreeing with the Syrians, and you know, in the end, it just becomes like a table tennis match between one view and the other, and like, you know, truth gets totally lost in between. And I mean, we have a policy in RTE of always saying that if these images, if we get images on YouTube or whatever, we say, you know, these images can't be verified. You know, they're not and as long as you cover yourself with that, you know, people can make up their own minds when they're watching it. If something is staged, you know, very often it looks staged, you know, and there are easy ways to find out. And there are companies companies now that companies like Storyful and that they're curators of information, and they have different instruments to check whether something is true or not. You know, they use Google Earth, they use weather reports. You know, they cross-reference all sorts of different information to say, well, this, you know, this couldn't have happened if.
To the European Youth Media Days 2013. This is the annual event of the European Youth Press hosted at the European Parliament. My name is Lina Otgård.
And I'm Sylvia Maro. This year's topic is National Problems, European Solutions. The event covers the latest from the European and national policies. The European Commission is opening up the Erasmus exchange program to students from all over the world. The change happens under a new program that aims to improve higher education in Europe. Every year, more than 200,000 European students study abroad under the Erasmus exchange program. The demand for higher education is expected to rise from 99 million students to 414 million students in less than 20 years. The head of higher education and the Erasmus program at the European Commission, Mr. Adam Tyson, explains how important it is to draw international students to Europe.
It's important for Europe that we offer high quality educational opportunities for people from outside. Partly, of course, because this can help with building the capacity of systems in other countries, particularly when we're talking about developing countries. It's very important to offer those opportunities, but also because it's the contacts that you build up between universities through student mobility and staff mobility, which can later on lead into research partnerships, which are also very important, economically and socially for Europe later on. So it's a win-win situation by building up these links.
So I'm going to give the word over to Sebastian, who will introduce the way of presentation for these great results.
Hi, great to see you all here. Now, the workshops will go through one by one. For the workshops where there is, for example, a website, something like Spotify, Storyfy, not Spotify. A Storyfy to show, then I would like to ask one of the two people responsible from the participants to scroll through it at the speed that they want. Keep in mind you have 10 minutes.
Can I ask for a show of hands? If you were faced with this decision, would you stay? Show of hands in terms of the labour market.
And we had to find topic, subject, a wonderful approach for a quite boring subject, and because we are journalists and because we love questions, we decided to work on a specific question. That question is, what exactly the European Union? It's a union of states, or it's one of people? So we started to document this, the answer for this question in a traditional way. We asked people on the street and also in the parliament, of course, because it was raining outside. We asked them what they think about this, and the majority of those who were interviewed said that it's a union of people.
So I think we talked a lot about I think we talked a lot about content already, and I think you're probably kind of bored of everything, all the articles, all the different articles. So we decided to talk a little bit
about the pros and cons in the beginning also of our print workshop, kind of. It was different, like Alicia already said, because we didn't interact so much. We wrote our own articles and we were just sitting in an office, kind of, and writing our stuff. But it was still fun working together with all the people.
And this is their publication. It's Orange Magazine. It will be published in about the next week or so. It will be online and available. This article was basically it tackled the unseen phase of the transitional labour restrictions. It particularly focused on Romania and Bulgaria.
The topic of our group was Euroscepticism, and we tried to cover different aspects of that topic.
Hi all, yeah, we are here in the photo workshop. We've been 12 members of the workshop working on different photo sections.
I think the pictures speak for themselves, so not commenting them. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. And then we went to the House for Employment, which is also a place, a public organism that can help you find a job in Brussels. And also we took some pictures on the way of people actually working. So you see there's hope. There are some jobs out there. Because we wanted to finish on a positive.
We basically walked around the whole center, and it was like we were working the whole day. Okay, so just selections of pictures from European Union quarter in colors on the side. Yeah, so you can imagine people in business suits, really nice office buildings, very clean streets, very great houses, great conditions, even places for dogs, signs for horses not to cross. Diplomatic quarters, districts, still the Brussels model. It's one of the highest unemployment rate in Brussels. It's around 17%. And you really see the difference. First of all, the girl down here, you could just introduce yourself a moment ago to you. This was our coordinator. We've made a very, very long show. We've made something upwards of an hour, which is nice. So you don't actually have to say to anybody,
this is all from the European Youth Media Days 2013. I'm Sylvia Amaro.
And I'm Lina Otgor. Thank you for watching and see you again next year. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Very, very slowly.
What is this? You think you're revenge?
I just want to see.
She called me darling in the moonlight. She called me baby in my bed. She called me honey when the lights went low. You know I never once believed the words she said. She called me sweetie in the morning. She even called me poopsie pie. She said, love, when you do that to me, but when I wouldn't do it, she would cry. I thought that I had her in the palm of my hand, but we all get fooled now and then. And every afternoon we'd go for a walk. She'd hold my hand and smile at me. She'd tell me all the things I love to hear from my little heart went tweet, tweet, tweet. I thought that I had her in the palm of my hand, but we all get fooled now and then. I thought that she loved me, I thought that she cared for me. I never thought that she would break my heart. I couldn't imagine a life without her, no. But the fact is not that